FRYE encouraged freedom and self-confidence in his students, but he also insisted on discipline. Freedom, he has always said, is not simply a matter of doing what you want. Freedom is wanting to do what you have to do, and this kind of freedom is always rooted in practiced habit.
There is no antithesis between freedom and necessity. If you're playing the piano and exercising your free will about whether you will play the right notes or the wrong notes, you're not playing worth a damn. You only know what you're doing when what you want to do and what you have to do are exactly the same thing.
FRYE's insistence that true freedom only roots in a ground first cultivated by patient habit did not endear him to the student radicals of the later 60s. Freedom now was their cry. One Maoist pamphlet of the time described FRYE as the high priest of clerical obscurantism. These were probably FRYE's unhappiest years as a teacher, and sometimes he felt himself quite isolated, but he continued to speak out forcefully.
The student activism of the 60s was something I had really very little sympathy with. It started out with a group of students in Berkeley feeling that they were not being paid attention to as students, something I could profoundly sympathize with. As it went on, they became more and more attracted by the cliches of revolutionary ideology, and then they turned into something which was no longer intellectual. In fact, that was the thing that sickened me about the student movement, was that it was an anti-intellectual movement in the one place in society where it had no business being. And once a student gets on a self-righteous kick, he becomes utterly impervious to argument because he's still too young and insecure to listen to anything except the applause of his own conscience. And I knew that that movement would fall dead in a very short time because it had no social roots. It wasn't like feminism or black emancipation or anything of that sort, with a real social cause behind it.
How was it anti-intellectual?
It was anti-intellectual in that it used anarchist and neo-fascist tactics of breaking up meetings, occupying buildings, and that kind of thing. They felt they were doing something when they were doing this kind of nonsense.
The element of desperation in this was something I think you could understand, right? The feeling of unreality in the world that was provoking this.
Yeah,
you were sympathetic to.
But it was a counter-unreality that they were trusting to. And what I find hopeful about the present political situation all across the world is the gradual loss of belief in the validity of ideology, qua ideology.
How did you respond to the demand for relevance, let's say? What did that slogan mean to you?
I said that it was a favorite word of Nancy's.
Meaning?
Meaning that all this stuff was going in a neo-fascist direction. The Nazis talked about Zweckwissenschaft, about target knowledge, and that came to mean sooner or later that useful meant essential for waging war. And that attitude to the arts and sciences not only destroyed art and science in Germany for a whole generation, but it helped materially in losing the war for them.
The demand that the university curriculum be made relevant to the current interests of students, FRYE considers antithetical to the true purpose of a university. It is precisely what is irrelevant about what we study, FRYE said during the 60s, that is the liberalizing element in it. Universities exist to unsettle our prejudices, not to reinforce them. As a teacher, FRYE has lived this commitment to liberal education. But during the course of his career, the university has changed in ways that have made it harder to realize his ideals.
It's changed as society has changed. The 19th century university was the very small college, which was the training ground for young gentlemen. That meant that all relations were personal, tutor and student, with their private hours. And as the university has begun to reflect more advanced industrial and technological conditions, and the world has, of course, irremediably pluralistic in both the arts and the sciences. It has to be a world of specialists. It can't function otherwise. So you get a great deal of highly specialized scholarship, which makes a problem for the person who still is teaching undergraduates and is still in that personal relationship. And it throws more responsibility on the undergraduate, too.
What I'm wondering, really, I guess, is whether the university, as you would like it to be, and as it must be to play the role you see for it in society, whether that university actually exists any longer, except insofar as you continue to do what you do and there must be others like you.
The university, as I would like it, does not exist. The only thing you can do is to fight rearguard actions in small corners.